Did they make
No,
contact?
no. It's pretty close, but this is going to be a drag race.
Look at this.
Moves him to win it. Carl Edwards bump and dump and run.
Here comes Gordon right up to the bumper again.
You hear that wheel spin, Ben?
Yeah, I did hear that wheel spin.
The bump and run.
There it is.
Gordon underneath to the lead. 2 laps to go. But the bump and run is going to get Jeff Gordon the checkered flag at the end of the winless streak. Gordon wins the Sharpie 500 at Bristol.
And Maine really turned around, made a Riley's cage up.
Yeah, welcome to the Bump and Run podcast. I'm your host, Michael D.Y., joined by my two best friends, Matt the Statman Reilly and Eric Daytona Ron. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you had yourselves a Kyle Larson all-star type of weekend. He was the big winner down in Tejas for the all-star race. And if you're liking this podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Podcast available every Monday night, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Amazon Music, anywhere you can download a podcast. And you can watch us on YouTube every Tuesday morning. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at bumpthenrunpod.com. Shout out to all the friends of the show. Shout out to all you guys down in Kansas listening. I don't know who you are, but I'm sure appreciate you listening every week. We got someone in France that listens to us every Monday night. I don't know who you are, but we love you. We thank you for your support. And we hope you enjoyed the racing weekend. How was your guys' weekend? I really didn't talk much this weekend. I was busy myself. I was down in below the Mason-Dixon line. I was down in Maryland for the weekend. But what were you guys up to all weekend?
I had by design, I had a very relaxing weekend with my wife. And, with the upcoming few weekends are going to be a little wild and busy.
Oh, yeah.
By design, I had a very relaxing, quiet weekend with my lovely wife. And I want to also say happy belated birthday to our co-host here, Daytona Ron.
Happy birthday, Daytona Ron.
Mr. 31 years old. Welcome, buddy.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, I started off my weekend on Friday celebrating my birthday, 31 years old.
Get a little tuned up.
Got a little tuned up on Friday night, and the only way to fix that hangover on Saturday is to not get hungover. So Saturday,
keep it rolling.
Rolling into Saturday. So all in all, it was a pretty fun weekend, and they're down there in Texas, and I got my Texas Longhorns T-shirt on because I'm a Longhorn fan, and they punched their ticket to Omaha, the College Baseball World Series over the weekend too. So birthday, Texas punched their way to the College World Series, and we had some good racing down there in Texas at Texas Motor Speedway for the All-Star race.
Hell yeah, Daytona had a good weekend there. It sounds like Matt had a nice relaxing weekend. The calm before the storm, because of course we have Pocono coming up in 2 weeks, but this coming week we're all heading up to Portland, Maine for a bachelor party. And I would like to say we're going to be nice and calm and cool and not get too drunk, but I know that's a lie. So I also had a pretty quiet weekend. I didn't do much drinking. I had 2 beers during the All-Star race. That was about it. But Friday night headed down to the Baltimore, Maryland area. My girlfriend had some work stuff to get done. I actually spent this whole Saturday alone. She was doing this course, and I listened to the truck race as I drove the beach near Baltimore. It wasn't like real beach. It was like
left to my own devices like that. I think my first instinct is to just go to a bar. So I'm surprised you restrained yourself. Well,
so because I drove down there, and I'm not going to say I don't trust my girlfriend driving my car. I just know the highway system in Maryland is way more intense than it is in Pennsylvania. We have a lot of 2-lane highways. They're all like 3-lane highways. And I knew it would be
the Beltway.
Yeah. So I had a sober Saturday. I listened to the truck race, and I drove to this beach. I forgot what it was called. It was a penis innuendo. It was like Rock Hard or something, or No Hard.
That Assateague Island, is it, where all the horses walk around and they put that extra line in the sand as they're going by?
Oh my God.
So it was like in the Bay Area, I guess. So it wasn't like a true beach. I didn't even hear what Eric said. I don't think I want to hear. Are we going to get canceled for that?
This is a family show, Eric.
Anyways,
Families go to that island.
I was at Fort Smallwood Beach.
Okay, so I
and
can
like
see
recreational park. So yeah, Smallwood. It was like a penis innuendo for me. I made a joke about her buddy Luke
You
on
did.
Snapchat.
You did.
But the cool thing, so I was walking around and there was like a whole bunch of like there was like people fishing in the bay, and then there was like families enjoying like the picnic areas and stuff. And I was just like wandering around. I didn't know where the hell I was. I was all alone. Probably looked like a fucking weirdo. I was walking.
I was wondering where you were when you sent that snap.
Yeah.
I was like, where the hell is he?
So you know how you're in like a park and it'll have like historic signs and shit. So apparently this bay was where some battle happened in the 1800s. And Francis Scott Key was on the beach that I was on. And he was watching
Civil War by any chance?
It wasn't the Civil War. It was like the British assault on Baltimore in 1814. So this is well into
Bunch of tea got
yeah. The British were fighting
terrible.
us. I don't know what war at all. All I know is it was they're like fighting on Fort McHenry. I was on the beach where Francis Scott Key was inspired to write the Star-Spangled Banner. I was standing where the rockets' red glare and all that shit, and the bombs were bursting in air. I didn't see any bombs down there, but I did see it like this weird fort building. It was pretty cool. I got a picture of that too.
You
That's
come
amazing. What?
to
That is
the Bump and Run podcast to learn.
Yeah, oh
Yes.
yeah. We're spilling history facts, we're spilling NASCAR facts, but you guys want to jump into the latest NASCAR facts? We got some news to go over.
Yep,
Let's hear it.
do it.
All right, so you want to know what? Thinking about last week, I didn't think it was a very busy news week, but as I was doing the recap this morning, it kind of was. And it all kind of started. Matt DiBenedetto and the Wood brothers gave their crew chief the old boot. They got rid of Greg Irwin and replaced him with a car engineer, Jonathan Hassler. His first race was this past weekend in Texas. And I tell you what, I don't know if I saw much of a difference between Matty D's performance this week, but I thought he was a strong contender to win one of the open races. Of course, he got the fan vote. And
Yeah, he led laps. He definitely put himself into position to win one of those stages. So
yeah,
but he runs good
he
regardless.
does. I feel like he just has some bad luck, especially early on in the season. But we'll see how the new crew chief and Jonathan Hassler works out. Another day. Oh, what was it? It was like Tuesday. It was the day the YouTube video came out. Later on in the afternoon, Matt, you text us. You're like, oh man, I think Fox Network has been listening to the Bump and Run and our criticism on Fox, because apparently Jeff Gordon is weighing his options on returning to Fox next season or taking on a bigger role at Hendrick Motorsports, which I would be interested to see where this goes. Either way, because like, oh man, I'm not the biggest Jeff Gordon fan. I was not the biggest Jeff Gordon fan as a kid when he was on track. I'm not the biggest Jeff Gordon fan when he's in the booth. I think he's a little dry, but as a leader at Hendrick, I mean, they're already the top dog in the Cup Series right now, but I'm sure if he takes on a bigger role, it could only get better, right?
I guess sources close to that story said that Jeff did say, like, it's if you asked him this a year ago, it probably would have been a lot easier of a decision.
Yeah.
But in a candid moment, I guess Jeff told somebody that the addition of Clint Boyer and their budding friendship on and off the camera is actually making his decision a lot harder. So
really?
this is a real. I mean, he all but confirmed that this is a real rumor. Like, this is something that he's really weighing out the options. And I guess his budding friendship with Clint Boyer is really making this a difficult decision for him. So I'm not there. I don't know Jeff. I don't know what he's thinking. I can only tell you what I've heard.
I tell you what, you go ahead, Eric.
I would be kind of upset to see Jeff leave, just because I've watched him grow a little bit over these last few. You know what I mean? Like, at first, like, is he doing it right? Everyone has that.
He's definitely been a better broadcaster this year than in years previous.
Yeah. So like there were people that complained about Clint Boyer because he's new, and of course you're going to have slip ups here and there. He's new. He's trying to figure it out.
I think Clint's doing a great job. The only thing I see, sometimes Clint gets a little sidetracked and he kind of like trails off. And I think that's honestly people talking in his ear, and it kind of screws up his rhythm, you know?
It would screw me up, though. You know,
Yeah.
that's
Other than that, I think
happen.
he's doing a solid job. I think his input and his just breaking down the cars and what's happening on track, I think he's doing a great job. I really do.
I think Fox is going to want Jeff back for one more year.
Yeah.
Because I think their whole thing is they might be talking where, hey, groom Clint Boyer to take what you're doing so you can do what you want to do. I think Clint needs Jeff around for one more year. If Jeff wasn't there this year, Clint Boyer would have been a lot more.
He'd be a fish out of water.
Pressure. Yeah, he would. I think Jeff, even though they have I understand the relationship, but they played on that, which I think maybe that at first was okay, but then I think they might have taken it too far, and like they do have bad blood. So like the first initial, these two, gimmick, I think they might have went a little too far.
But it seems like they've overcome that bad blood, really,
Right. And that's all part of it too, That's why they probably chose him too, you know what I mean? They like that back and forth, it works.
Oh, yeah. We'll see what happens next year. Again, our complaints with Fox usually aren't with the broadcasting crew. Usually it's the production crew that we get upset with. Matt, I know, mentioned Mike Joy was taking offense on Twitter. And I think Mike Joy is one of the greatest broadcasters in NASCAR history. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. Next piece of news, Justin Marks of Trackhouse Racing says he would like to expand to a 2-car team in 2022, working on a charter now. And apparently this will jump right into the next part. Kurt Busch has a lot of options right now. So we mentioned a couple weeks ago and even last week that he's the number one prospect for the 2311 second car, but apparently Trackhouse Racing gave him a call too and was wondering if he'd be interested in maybe moving over and helping out that new budding team. And you know what? I could see him going either way, but then Chevy Simulator Program also reaching out to Kurt Busch to see if they want to help them with their corporate simulator for all the Chevy teams. Apparently, Kurt Busch is in high demand, especially for someone that we were speculating might retire at the end of the season. And according to his Twitter, he says all the talks are talks. He needs to talk with Chip Ganassi first because he's loyal to Chip too. So I have no idea what's going to happen with Kurt Busch, but it should be pretty interesting. He's got a lot of options going into 2022. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, I think a lot of veteran drivers, I went through it with Matt, being a Kansas fan, where they do get offers to do those things as far as, like Jeff's even getting offered a top spot at Hendrick. These guys at the end of their careers tend to get offered a lot of jobs like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm not surprised that Kurt is getting it because, despite this season, he's shown some speed here and there, but he's still a very good race car driver and he still produces behind the wheel of that race car. So
he could have won the Daytona road course,
Yeah. So I could see him, being more of the simulator thing where it's, the risk is out of it. Cause I think now that, he wants to, I think, he's
a big married
thing,
and everything,
right? Like with his concussions, I think once you get to that certain age, you realize, oh, I have this much more life to live. So they want to get away from the Brian Newman situations as much as they can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I just I don't have much to add. Eric kind of brought it on home there. I think it's interesting. He's got a lot of options. 10 years ago, the Kurt Busch of 10 years ago, I don't think would have gotten options just from an attitude,
and personality, and everything.
Where he was 10 years ago. I think he's come a long way. I'm a huge believer in second chances.
Yeah,
I'm a huge believer that people grow, and I think he's done a good job of personally growing, and now he's getting some really, really good opportunities. So I hope the best for him, and I know he'll pick the right one that makes most sense for him.
Absolutely. It should be a very interesting silly season. Just one piece in the big puzzle that is silly season, and it's just beginning. I can't wait for the coming months to see where all the pieces fall. Speaking of Kurt Busch, though, and he's a Las Vegas native, Las Vegas adding to the long list of tracks. They'll have full attendance in the fall for their playoff race. So glad to see that. I'm almost certain that every track is going to have full attendance right now, except for I think we're waiting on Watkins Glen and New Hampshire maybe to make an announcement yet to see what they're going to do attendance wise. And let's see. John Hunter Nemechek had a great weekend in the Truck Series. We'll talk about that in a few, but apparently he's going to be going Xfinity Series driving. Joe Gibbs signing him up for the 54 car later on in the season. He's going to be running at Bristol, Texas, and Phoenix. So I'm excited to see how John Hunter runs in the Xfinity Series. I'm sure he'll be running up front in that 54 car. He's lighting that Truck Series on fire.
Yeah, that's no surprise there that he's getting an opportunity like that. And he deserves it.
Absolutely. And just
that car always runs up front. So if you're in that equipment, you better kind of run well, essentially. So we'll see.
Oh, yeah. I'm interested. I love the whole John Hunter Nemechek story. I'm not a huge fan of John Hunter Nemechek from something that happened in the Truck Series years and years ago with Cole Custer. There was a back and forth on a road course that I thought was a little much, so it kind of put a sour taste in my mouth. But this season, I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing. So maybe I'll come around on John Hunter Nemechek in that way. Someone I don't think I'll come around on, and someone that I think we all kind of like to joke about, Cody Ware, going to be skipping the Cup race in Nashville to go cause some cautions in the IndyCar series. He's going to be running Road America next week instead of coming to Nashville Super Speedway. Not much to say there. Just figure I'd give you guys an update. We probably won't be talking about Cody Ware next week,
but somehow we still mention Cody Ware.
Absolutely.
This might be Cody Ware podcast pretty soon.
Oh yeah. And, yes,
I'm purposely staying quiet because I refuse to talk about him.
All right. And, yesterday we had a, I thought it was a great performance from Sammy Hagar down at the All-Star race. A lot of people on Twitter were kind of crapping all over it because Sammy Hagar is 73 years old. I thought the Red Rocker was still rocking out and having a good time, but people want to see more contemporary acts. And one guy lighting up the country world, Luke Combs, is going to be returning to the Daytona 500 for the 2022 pre-race concert. I feel like I always get hyped for the artists for the pre-race concert at Daytona because usually we're going there and we never actually see them. So
Time.
But if you're,
I think Luke Bryan was playing the year that I went down with you, Eric, and it was like right in the middle of like Luke Bryan like mania when he was like huge.
Yeah.
Back in what was it, 2014?
It's really getting shoved down everyone's throat.
We got to our seats and we were, I don't know, from where his stage was to where our seats were was probably five or 600 yards away at least.
Yeah.
You know, and I couldn't hear a goddamn thing. Like I couldn't even tell that there was a band playing.
No.
So.
Well, if you want to go see a 15-minute Luke Combs concert, go to Daytona 500 this year. And that's pretty much all I have for news this week. It was kind of a light news week, but a lot of weird driver stories this week. You guys want to jump into the racing weekend down in Texas, though? We mentioned earlier John Hunter Nemechek having another great race down in Texas, his fourth win of the season, and really just showing that he made the right decision to back away from Cup and go back down to the Truck Series.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot. I know Eric has been a huge proponent of John Hunter Nemechek's I guess
progression route.
Yeah. And so it's working out for him. It's clearly working out for him. And one thing I hope he doesn't do is jumps into another opportunity way too soon, and then it's just kind of a full circle thing. I want him to stay down in the Truck Series, dominate for another year or two. So why not? He's still what, 23, 24?
He's 23. He's very young.
Still a young guy. There's no rush.
That is such a good point, man. That is such a good point. I didn't think of that. Like, as much as I want these people to go down there and compete for wins like I never thought, okay, when you do that, you're gonna get offers again.
Oh yeah.
So like that like, you know, patience, that maybe maturity to resist that, to stay where you're at.
Until a premier seat opens up in the Cup Series, and it will, right? It will. Every few years, you have guys retiring, stepping away, moving around. There's going to be a premier opportunity in the Cup Series for him. Just keep doing his thing until it's time.
Yeah,
that's my suggestion.
I definitely think he's on the right trajectory, and I think he's going to stick with it. And I heard a story on MRN's broadcast over the weekend on the trucks. What's going on? What's you guys are cracking up?
It's funny.
Okay.
Well, what the hell do I know?
Yeah,
that's true. It's like, honestly, like what do we know? I mean, we're just speculating at this point. But I heard a pretty interesting story about John Hunter Nemechek and Kyle Busch, and kind of how all this deal kind of unfolded. So when John Hunter was in the Cup Series, he was outperforming his equipment. I remember a lot of people were really high on him for Rookie of the Year early on, because he was having some good top 20s. I think he had a top 15 or two in not the greatest equipment. And
was he that 38 car?
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Because I remember he did run pretty well.
He started off the season really well
for a lot of those too.
Yeah.
Like it's just a black 38 car. It's like when I'm picturing it in my head. He didn't. Yeah.
No, he was running really well, and people were surprised because at the time you had the big three in the Xfinity Series. You had Cole Custer, Christopher Bell, and you had Tyler Reddick all coming up together. Those were the guys in the storyline. John Hunter Nemechek was filling in for someone. Who was in it? Was it like Matt Tifft or someone who had some health issues and had to step away?
Oh yeah,
you know.
Yes. There was a health thing going on.
That he had to go. He had brain aneurysm or something. His brain.
Yeah.
And then, wasn't David Reagan in the 38 car though?
He was. So then the next season they had to fill someone in. So they picked John Hunter Nemechek from the Xfinity Series to come up. So you had the big three in the Xfinity Series coming up. Those guys were the storyline for Rookie of the Year and everything. Everyone thought one of them was going to at least win a couple of races. And then you had John Hunter Nemechek outrunning all three of them in the beginning of the season. And they're like, oh man, we forgot about John Hunter. You know, it was the big three and me for John Hunter Nemechek. And then, you know, as the season went on, he kind of fell off. Well, the funny story is John Hunter Nemechek, he's a young guy. He doesn't have a whole lot of money. He was bumming rides essentially to the track every week. He was jumping on charter flights with Kyle Busch. And near the end of the season, him and Kyle would be talking a lot. And, you know, he'd be like, yeah, I just want an opportunity to win some races. I want to be in equipment that I know is going to run well. And Kyle Busch was thinking at the same time, you know, last season for the truck season for Kyle Busch, he almost went winless till the end there. And he's thinking, I need a veteran to put in one of my trucks, someone that I know is going to run well. They kind of started going back and forth, and that's kind of how the deal all went down. And apparently Kyle Busch has been a big fan of John Hunter Nemechek and his father, Joe Nemechek, since his days at Hendrick, because he ran with Nemechek.
That's pretty wild. That's a crazy story.
That is a crazy story,
isn't it?
But I was just gonna say, because like John Hunter Nemechek, it's not like he came from a freaking trailer park like Joe. Like no, like in front row Joe is his father. So I'm surprised he didn't have like a ride to the racetrack. But nonetheless, it's a cool story.
He was bumming flights, you know, like back in the day, Michael Waltrip used to fly to every track with Dale Earnhardt too. You know, like
a lot of those guys, though. Now that I'm thinking about it, like a lot of those guys do fly together when they can.
Yeah, so when I say he was bumming rides, it's not like he was jumping in the back seat of some guy's Chevy and driving down the road. They were in a nice chartered flight and everything.
Sure.
You know, it was just John Hunter's riding with some of the established Cup guys. I just thought that was a great story, and you want to know what? I'm kind of root. I don't like Kyle Busch, but I'm rooting for KBM to succeed. I'm rooting for John Hunter Nemechek to succeed. And I think you're right, Eric. I think he's not going to jump too soon because he's already been in the Cup Series and he saw what going up too quick gets him.
Yeah.
You know, I think he's in a better headspace where he's like, all right, well, let me run these 3 Xfinity Series races. We'll see what he does next year. Maybe he takes that 18 ride for the Xfinity Series.
You go to KBM though. You go to one of those KBM trucks.
Yeah.
What Why would you he could become the next Crafton? Stay there.
Oh yeah.
You enjoy the trucks. You're good at the trucks. Be the best at driving a truck ever.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. You're making money, you're winning races, you're relevant, you're getting sponsors every year. There's no worry on, oh my God, am I going to have a sponsor this year?
Yeah.
Just dominate the series that you're in. That's your talent, and I would take advantage.
I might be wrong too, but I think his father spent a lot of years in the truck series too, near the end of his career, just kind of riding around and collecting some paychecks here and there and trying to get some wins. So I agree. I don't think there's anything wrong with staying in a lower series and dominating. But, he's a young guy too, and I'm sure he wants to get back into Cup. That's the big dream, is to be a Cup star. And if he has a path with Joe Gibbs racing now, I mean, look at Joe Gibbs right now. You have Kyle Busch, you have Denny Hamlin, you have Martin Truex Jr. I'm not going to say they're going to retire next year or anything, but they are getting older in age. And in 7 years from now, John Hunter's going to be 30. He's going to be prime for a JGR Cup ride. So.
Harrison Burton and Ty Gibbs will take those up.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, they're all real young guys too, So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But speaking of JGR and the Xfinity Series program, Kyle Busch scoring his 99th win in the Xfinity Series on Saturday. What do you guys think about Kyle Busch and 99 wins?
He's one of the best that there's ever been. He's dominant when it comes to, I mean, really all three series, to be honest with you. He's dominant. I think as long as, for me personally, as long as Kyle Busch keeps his mouth shut as far as some of the stupid things he says, I don't really have a problem with him. I mean, he's one of the most, in my mind, as far as talent goes, he's got to be a top 5 or top 10 talent NASCAR has ever seen.
Well, Matt, like you said, like his brother, do you think in your mind, as Kyle gets older, do you have the same feeling for Kyle as you do with Kurt? Because I kind of am in that realm of, hey, I used to hate Kyle Busch, and as he's getting older, like his brother Kurt, I'm kind to gain a little bit of respect for him as he gets older.
Yeah, I don't want to dislike really any driver. Really, it's just however you naturally feel about someone. I want to root for Kyle. I don't want to root for Kyle, but I don't want to dislike Kyle. And every time, I feel like every time he gets a step up on the ladder for me as far as maturity and everything, he does something or says something that drops him right back down. So it's a wait and see for me. But as far as his talent on the track, 99 wins is incredible. In just one series alone, not to mention what he's done in the truck and Cup series. So, good for him. That's good for him.
He's just a wheel man. He is
he's an undeniable generational talent, And
okay, so in my eyes, currently in NASCAR, Kyle Busch to me is still the wheel man.
Yeah.
To me right now. Now, until Kyle Larson wins a championship, he is on Kyle Busch's heels right now as far as put him in anything and he's going to just drive the wheels off of it. So, 99, hopefully, Jay was, our buddy Jay was saying today, he hopes that Kyle gets that 100th win at Pocono. And he's there. Yeah. And that would be pretty sweet to see his 100th win there.
It's possible. It's possible. You can't rule it out.
Our buddy Jay is a fan of both Kyles. He's a big Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch fan. And so it's almost split probably for him every weekend when those guys are running close together. But
that's like Eric. That's like Daytona Ron with Eric Jones and Willie B.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go. I'm all in, dude. I'm all in.
But speaking of the Kyles, Kyle Larson dominating on Sunday for his second consecutive All-Star win. So he won in 2019 and in 2021. I know Chase won in between, but Kyle Larson wasn't in that race, so it's still a consecutive win for old Kyle Larson down in Texas, an All-Star once again. And what'd you guys think about the All-Star race? What was your race grade this weekend?
Who's going?
Give it to Matt.
All right. Straight up an A+ for me.
Yeah.
I gave it the A+. The racing was simply the best I've seen all year as far as on the track. Whether whether it was an exhibition or a points-paying race.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It was the best racing I've seen all year. There was passing for the lead. I mean, they were just it was Larson and Chase and Kyle.
Great battles.
It was great battles going on. I think the hot temperatures activated the PJ1 exactly how it's intended to be activated. And I know we have a segment later on PJ1, so I won't get too far into that. But it made two really good grooves, two racing grooves, two like real legit racing grooves. And it just depended on which lane you're going to take. Were you going to take that shorter lane around the track? Or were you going to take that PJ1 that was going to give you a good exit off? So it led to really good passing. I thoroughly enjoyed the format, which I'll get into in a second as well. And I thought it worked out brilliantly for an all-star race. So I was pleasantly surprised yesterday. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm a little confused on my end because I did have one or two, beverages, and I was having a good time during the race.
Yeah.
So was I paying attention the entire time? No, but I did watch the majority of it. I liked the heats going into it, I think, more than I enjoyed the race.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
So
Me too. That was a lot of fun.
Like, as a weekend in whole, I gave it an A+. The actual just all-star race, I gave it a B+.
Okay.
It was confusing because there were battles for the lead when we were watching them, but they seemed to be right after the restart and then dirty air, and that kind of
got strung out.
Took into play, and that happened. So the restarts were exciting. As a whole, I said, though, I think like between, if you want to break down the quals, the heats, all that kind of stuff, even though my driver, wrecked out, I still entertainment value A+ all around for the All-Star weekend. I think we'll get into like the whole Sammy Hagar thing. I don't know if we will or not, but that was awesome. So like entertainment value from the start, from the quals to him to everything. It was just, it was good all around. But the racing product, I'll give it a B+. Because I don't want to get picky on it. It was entertaining, but it's a hit or miss for me.
So I'm grading the All-Star race just as a spectacle. I'm not truly grading the race itself. Yeah. And I'm gonna give it an A. It gave me everything I wanted. It was a fun race. Like we said, the Open was fantastic. A lot of great battles in the Open. And I'm not just biased because my guy won the second one, because I was losing it. As Ross Chastain drove from the back to the front, they were beating and banging, literally smashing into each other on the last lap. Like, that's everything you want to see in racing. That's what it's all about. And I thought it was awesome. I liked all the big pageantry and the circus that came along with it. They had the big Texas Longhorn steers, the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, all that stuff going on. I thought it was just a really fun time. And I agree. The restarts were great. The format was, I thought I was going to be a little confused going in. I think Fox really did do a good job of just explaining it as it went, like the guys in the booth. I did get confused a little bit though with like some of the inversions and stuff. Like, you're like, oh, I don't know who's really good right now and who's like stuck in the back.
I didn't give it an A because I had one problem with the format.
Yeah.
And this goes to what Matt was busting my balls about just a couple minutes ago. I would have loved to see, like, William Byron got punished for finishing second.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, I thought he had a car that could have competed with Larson and Chase Elliott.
Yeah.
Like, but since he came in second, he was part of that invert. And when the last tap, when you go back, you're not good. There's no way you're going to make it up there. You're stuck there. So, like, I like the flipping and the flopping, but there was a part of me, maybe being a Willie B fan now, that like would have liked to see Willie B, who has been an all-star from the beginning of the season till now, actually try to compete with Chase and with Kyle Larson, who just so happened to be Hendrick's cars as well. I would have liked to see him in the mix and just that format kind of took him out of it.
There was definitely some strategery that the crew chiefs could have played with, like finishing positions near the end of stages and
but
stuff.
then you're not going 100%.
Exactly, and I don't want to see that. And
now you're picking and choosing who you're letting go by you for where you're going to be. That's what I just like. It was he came in second, and you're putting him in 10th now. Like, come on.
I think the reason why I gave it the A+ is because I am very open about the fact that like I'm not an all-star race guy. It's never done anything for me. No. I like stakes attached to a race, and I'm sorry, those guys winning $1 million does nothing for me as far as stakes goes.
No.
So I like when there's points on the line, when there's wins on the line that matter. As a matter of fact, a couple years ago, I can remember Steph and I were going to a Garth Brooks concert, and the first thing I do whenever anything gets scheduled in my life is I look to see what race is going to get correlated with it. When I saw it was the All-Star race weekend, I was like relieved that I wasn't going to miss anything. And so I usually go into these All-Star races with super low expectations, especially because of the gimmick of like the inversions and all that.
Yeah.
Like I said, I really, really enjoyed it. So, and then, like I said, in my checkers and wreckers format this week, I'm going to get more into it as well.
Well, let's jump right into the checkers and wreckers. What's your checkers?
So my checkers and wreckers goes hand in hand with each other this week. My checkers goes to the format. It actually made it, like I said, a fun watch for me.
Yeah.
We do a lot of dogging on the Fox broadcast, but I think that the broadcast booth did a really, really good job, at least for me, explaining it as we watched it unfold in real time. When I read everything, a couple weeks ago, when I read all the rules, it was super confusing for me.
So
even Whitey last week when you were explaining it on the podcast, and it was nothing you did wrong. It was super confusing.
Like when I explained it on the podcast, I thought I understood it. And then when it actually happened, the whole inversion from 8th until 12th, I thought they were just inverting those four positions.
I did too.
I didn't realize it was a fan vote that you get to choose whether it's the first 8 or the top 12. Like that really confused me. And like once I saw it happening on Fox, I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool, because then it does take some of that crew chief out of it, where like guys could try to.
They had the box around it too. Like they all were highlighting the drivers that were in there. They would put the box, hey, from 8, those 5 drivers, what I mean? 8, 12. Hey, these are the ones. And it was almost like how they do the bubble tracker when we get down to the playoffs. Oh, these are the ones. Is your driver in 8 through 12? If they are, they're going to go to the pole. You know what I mean? Like if your driver's in 8, you're going right to the pole to start this next round, you know?
And so I thought that was really cool. I didn't know that they were going to do the cumulative low score as far as, what was it, the 5th stage?
And
the beginning of
he was dominating that, dude. So I really like that element of it. And then it gave us some creative strategies.
Do you want to have that cumulative low score to set yourself up for the end? Or do you want to fall back and hope you get caught in the invert? So I actually found myself really enjoying it. And then that kind of wraps right into my wreckers. My wreckers goes to us or even just to me and pretty much everyone else I talked to leading into the All-Star race about the format. Nobody gave it a chance, especially
everyone shit on it real
myself.
Quick.
And one thing I've been trying to do in my personal life is give things a chance. Don't make an assumption. Don't
try new vegetables, stuff like that.
Don't try to be closed-minded about things. I've actually been trying to be more open-minded about things, and I wasn't open-minded about this format. And once it started unfolding, like I was almost like upset with myself. Like you're enjoying this. Why didn't you just give it a chance?
Yeah.
And so that's my wreckers is
I think they just threw so much at us. And even when Eddie Gossage was explaining it on Race Hub or wherever he announced it, like he was stumbling over it too. Like he was having a hard time, like even explaining it.
It was like that Zach Galifianakis theme where he's looking at.
So
I'm one of those people that you can tell me how to do something and I won't learn how to do it. But if you make me do it, like with my hands,
hands-on.
I will learn how to do it. I'm a hands-on type of guy. And I think it just took me watching the race for me to understand it. And now, like, looking back on it, like, it was really cool. So,
no, I agree.
So, yeah, that was my checkers and wreckers all wrapped in one there.
All right, Eric, I know you said you were struggling to figure out your checkers and wreckers for the weekend. Did you get one or no?
Yeah, no, I always find, something about these races here, but my checkers, like I said, when I was touching on my race grade, just the open races. I thought, the hottest track temps, 147-degree track temperature, like those cars in the PJ1, they were just, even with the low downforce package, like, which usually those cars are on rails, and that, like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
In the throttle, whole time, you don't let off. But, man, when they got into that PJ1 and the car got to the inside of you,
that sucked it right in.
It got so loose. And that's unfortunately how my driver, Eric Jones, wrecked out in his heat. And, that.
I thought he was going to save it, too. I thought he was so close to saving it,
Well, so mine as well, Matt, wrapped right in with one another. My checkers were the open races and how electric they were with the slipping and the sliding. And, it seemed every round. And, Whitey, I was rooting for Tyler Reddick once Eric Jones crashed. But even before he crashed, I was hoping those two would be the ones to advance.
Get in, yeah.
So they were just so exciting. And, Almirola at the end, like it seemed like with 2 laps to go, whoever was in the lead, they knew they were doomed.
Yeah.
And like they just had to hold off that second place driver. And so my wreckers was actually, Eric Jones. His heat that he was in, for me, he should have dominated that heat. Him and Reddick were the only two that I would consider drivers that you could pick to win that.
Yeah.
Okay. Like of the drivers that could have been in his heat, man, did he look out on the draw. And I was like, oh my God, he's going to easily, him and Reddick, RCR affiliates.
Yeah.
Hey,
they're going to work together, push each other.
Right there. Let's work together. Let's finish this and dominate.
Oh, yeah.
And, I just don't think they expected the track to act the way it did at that temperature and with the PJ1 and all of that. So it was just electric. But, I love the opens, but my records goes to Eric Jones, for just not capitalizing on a golden opportunity, to make it in. So
I tell you what, too, that open, I feel like it was some momentum for Eric Almirola. Finally was running really well. He got that last stage win, but like his car was on rails. He had the fastest car for a while there.
They said he wasn't lifting.
Yeah, he was just
pinning
the whole time. Yeah.
That's one thing Joey Logano said. It was because I know him and Brad were in the booth for both the trucks and Xfinity race, so I forget which race he said it in.
Yeah.
But he said he made a joke about it, which it wasn't funny, but he was like, the Pocono straight, the front stretch isn't the longest straightaway in NASCAR. It's here at Texas because you don't lift the whole time.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking like, well, that wasn't like, I get your point. I get what you're saying. It's because you're not.
You could
lifting
say you could say the same thing about Talladega and Daytona.
Right, Daytona, right. So I don't know. It was just a stupid way to make it the point that he was trying to make.
No,
anyway,
I get the point, but yeah, Joey Logano. My checkers, I already went into great detail. Was John Hunter Nemechek just proving himself, making the right decision going down on trucks. My wreckers, the only complaint I had the whole weekend was the hour wait in between the Open and the All-Star race to happen, because in my head, I thought it was starting right at 7. So I was like, oh, we got 10 minutes in between and we get the All-Star race. I'm not going to lie. Maybe I'll give myself the record for a little, I fell asleep during one of the segments just for about for about 7 laps. It was 7 laps. It went to a commercial in between. And I was like, I'm just going to rest my eyes for a little bit, because it was like 9:30, close to 10 o'clock. I'm like, And I woke up, I'm like, all right, we got 6 left in this segment. I didn't miss much. I'm good. I'm I'm awake now, and I was good. But I feel like we could have got that all in by 9:30.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was in my garage having a few cold ones at the time, and that in between time, it just so happens my neighbor comes over. My parents came up to my house, and like we started getting a bonfire going. My neighbor's throwing gasoline out. The whole yard's almost on fire. Like, it turned into an ordeal, and I kind of lost track of the time, and I almost missed the start of the actual race.
Yeah.
So and by the time it ended, you're kicking some cold ones back. It was a late start for a Sunday night when you have work the next day.
It's still fun though. I was a little skeptical of the start time, but I would take another late start like that for an evening, a Sunday evening, as long as it ends by like 10:30. 11 o'clock is just too late to be staying up in my 30s,
On a Sunday night.
On a
Sunday
Sunday?
night.
That's the Lord's Day. I'll take that day off. But let's see. One other point though. Brad Keselowski. I thought he could have stolen a win.
It scared me. It scared me as a Hendrick fan.
Yeah.
As a Hendrick fan and especially a Chase fan, like he came out of nowhere and I'm like, Brad's gonna steal this freaking win, isn't he?
Yep.
And he almost did. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I saw it. Like he always does that. And I go, oh, here it is. Brad Keselowski out of nowhere. He's just gonna steal this away. Like he always freaking does.
Mm-hmm.
But like after, I don't know if you guys heard on Twitter today, like they heard like the radio, he goes, I wanted to clear you. He goes, I couldn't. Because his spotter knew that if he moved up, everyone would have been wrecked.
Yeah.
He couldn't clear him. If he cleared him, he would have got in front of him. But guess what? That would have been the end of the race right there. Yep. Yeah. Everybody's wrecking.
I say
they almost
I say for $1 million, like you go for it. What's
like
up?
The
points race, Whitey? I could kind of see that.
Non-points race, you're racing for $1 million. Only one position matters. I say, fuck it, wreck the whole field. Who cares? Get that money, honey.
I'm actually with you for an all-star race. I'm with you
for
on
an
that,
all-star race. Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed this or not, but in bits and pieces of that race, like they almost ran like a super speedway, like the packs.
Yeah.
There was an actual pack running there. So I thought whatever they did as far as what did they run, like some sort of tapered spacer?
Yeah, they ran tapered spacer. They dropped it down 40 horsepower, so they're running 510 horsepower.
Okay. Well, for every mile and a half for the rest of the season, while they still have this generation car, they need to run that.
You want to know
PJ one down and let it go.
I'm saying no to that because everyone said the same thing after the 2018 all-star race where they originally ran the high downforce package. Everyone's like, it was the greatest, run this package for the rest of the season. We got it in 2019 and everyone pretty much shit on it for the rest of the year.
Fair enough.
Let's pump the brakes.
I know that the hot temperatures on the track helped as well.
Definitely played a factor. And you want to what?
And the carelessness of who cares if we wreck out. Let's be a little aggressive. I think that also added to it too. I see what you're saying.
There was some pretty interesting pit strategy because tires really didn't matter at all. There was no tire fall off. They only had so many sets, so they were running a lot of those segments on the same tires they started with and everything.
I think the heat had the most to do with it.
Yeah,
I honestly,
I don't think it was the package. I don't think it was the PJ1. I think it was just the heat in the track.
Right, and I think this was a scenario where, for once, the PJ1 was in effect to how it was supposed to be used.
Yeah,
the heat was there that we needed, and the package that was used. Because I'm not a big proponent of low downforce, and I was surprised. I really was. I'm like, man, this racing, and you guys said
proponent
about
of high downforce. You want low downforce. You don't want high downforce.
Yeah, it's like the runs though bothered me a little bit because if you didn't have that person behind you, you're never going to get to the lead.
No,
you needed to back up to the other car, and guess what? Once you back up to that car, that other guy's gone.
Yeah. You're not
going to get him. So that's why I gave it that B+ as my race grade, because yes, the package it was a hit in the first 5 to 6 laps.
Yeah,
it was a hit.
And you want to know what?
That it was a dud.
Well, and that's the thing too. I was going to say about this package over the last 2 years, it was built for stage racing and restarts. The restarts are always exciting because you're real
that goes
close.
With the chase and the whole format, you're 100%.
But like once you get like a nice long green flag run, the leader kind of takes off, and we've been seeing it for years now.
And that's what people complain. You'll see somebody, it's 14 seconds back to 5th, and they'll complain about that. But it's like, hey, that's kind of that's what you get. That's why people complain about stage racing, but you're 100% right.
It's kind of necessary,
You need it. You need it because that's the excitement. They want excitement. They want eyes. And in those first 10 laps of a restart, that's where it is. Now, could you say that should restarts be the best part about racing, or should the racing after that? I just think it's all, if it's entertainment, it's entertainment.
I think you got to take it all as a package, like take it all as a whole, you know?
Together. Yeah, I love the restarts. Do I love a good strategy, long green run? Yes.
Yeah.
So like I said last week, I think too, like every track is different. So it might hit at one, you might get an amazing race at another. So
and you want to know what? I think honestly, the racing is so good now that people kind of have a blinder on. Like think about where NASCAR was 45, 50 years ago. They'd finish a race with 3 guys on the lead lap.
Yeah.
You know, you're not seeing that kind of stuff anymore. Was that a great
the norm?
That was the norm.
Too. Now the rest of the field was 13 laps down.
Now we complain if one guy runs away with it and leads the majority of the race and there wasn't enough beating and banging to the line. The problem is, like, there have been so many great to the line finishes that you want that every week. And it's true, you want that every week, but like kind of, I mean, I said it a couple weeks ago. It's like every baseball game isn't going to be a tight pitcher's bat.
It's not going to be perfect.
You're lucky if you get 5 photo finishes a year.
Yeah. But I think people get used to that. They want to see the Daytona 500 wrecking to the line for the win type stuff. And you know what? Sometimes you just got to be happy with the guy that dominated a race all day, went out there and spanked the field. And I'm sort of trying to appreciate those races more. Yeah, I might get a little sleepy and close my eyes during them, but it doesn't mean they're terrible races, you know?
You know what though? Like what I say to those people is like, get into like fantasy racing, right?
Yeah.
It's free.
You don't have
to gamble if you don't want to gamble, but go on to NASCAR.com, join a fantasy league. It's free to do, and it makes the race a lot more interesting if you don't have a dog in the fight, or
because you're looking at all the different guys, you know?
Yep. Or if your favorite driver isn't doing good that day, it doesn't matter because you have this whole lineup that you can focus on.
Yeah.
If there's a guy dominating a race and you have him, it's exciting. You're okay with him dominating.
Looking at those bonus points, you're getting excited, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's ways around it in today's day and age to enjoy the race a couple different ways. So,
but I thought the All-Star race delivered every single way. I just hope next week in Nashville, we get a similar type exciting race. But here on the Bump and Run podcast, every podcast talks about the winner of the race. Who came in last? Without looking, who do you think came in last? Just take a guess.
I know because he was going to be my checkers.
I also know, but it's only because you sent us the rundown, Whitey.
Denny Hamlin coming in last, but there was a good reason. So
I didn't know this went down.
So
yeah, that's why it was going to be my checkers. And then I saw Whitey put it in the rundown. So I was like, okay, I'll do something else for my checkers. But this was going to be my checkers because go ahead, Whitey.
This was a really interesting thing. So Denny Hamlin on the last restart,
smart.
He pretty much gave it up and pulled right into to pit lane. Everyone's like, what's going on? Denny just quit the race. Well, apparently his crew chief came over the radio and he goes, hey, if you're not in contention to win this race, you need to come in because we got loose lug nuts and we can't lose. We don't want to get suspended for next week in Nashville.
I had no idea that happened. Like when I read the rundown, when you sent it today,
awareness.
I read that. I was like, first of all, how did Denny finish last? And then I read why, and I had no idea that happened. So
absolutely
smart though, very smart.
Great call. Yeah. And I was trying to figure out. I was trying to put the puzzle pieces together. I was like a detective, like working it out. So during the All-Star race, the quickest pit stop in segment 5 or 6 won $100,000. So I could only assume that the number 11 team was trying to get that 100K. They, maybe only tightened like 2 lug nuts and sent that car out on track. He knew it, trying to get that $100,000.
Hey, who won that? Who won that?
You want to know it?
Chase Elliott.
Was it Chase?
Yeah, Chase's crew won it.
Okay.
You're damn right he did. I just wanted Eric to say it.
Oh,
Yeah.
see, I didn't even know. I think that
That's because I've been busting Matt's balls that Kyle, Larson took over head of Hendrick. So it's a little jab back and forth with
we
that.
We can save that as a pickle lane for next week.
Oh yeah. But this week at Nashville, crew chiefs are very important because we're gonna have practice and qualifying again. It's one of those weekends where you want your crew chief on the box.
Baby, let's go. Qualifying and practice. I'm pumped for that. Let's go.
No, in any other weekend, I would say, hey, take the hit, whatever. It's no big deal. You could call the race from back at the shop or whatever. You got an engineer on the box. But if you're making adjustments during practice, I think it's very important. Just the wherewithal of Denny Hamlin's crew chief to know, like, hey, bring it on.
Like, even if he wants the season points battle too.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's a huge. If he still wants to win that, I mean, that would have been huge.
That's very true. I didn't think about the points penalty. I think what is that? It's like 10 points or something like that. When
but even starting in the back, not without your crew chief getting fined, like that's just not good. If you're trying to
for disaster,
yeah.
Especially because he's still trying to get his first win too. So
yeah,
that's so shocking. That is absolutely shocking to me right now with how he's running. I mean, not of late. I guess the beginning he dominated, but man, I thought Denny would definitely have a win.
Yeah, me too. Him and Harvick, like, I think I'm finally at the point for the last couple of weeks I've been saying, like, oh, don't worry about Harvick. Don't worry about Harvick. I think I'm starting to worry that he's not going to get a win this season.
Yep. At this point, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
At this point, yep.
He was a non-factor this weekend.
See that on Twitter?
Yeah, so Ronnie Childers this weekend, he was like, oh, I'm bringing my car to the track this weekend. So I'm wondering if he's been being told what to bring, what things to run and whatnot. So
he got confused. He's like, listen, he goes, we were good here. We're dominant here. Like, this is what we know. This is what our notes said. This is what, we thought, like, okay, we're going into this race with full confidence.
Yeah.
And they just didn't do well at all.
They didn't perform at all.
It shook him. It shook. He's like, I don't know what else to do.
Yeah.
Like, hopefully the second half here, like after the All-Star race and going forward, like, hopefully we figure it out. But if we don't, like, he seemed, and that's what kind of scared me, was he seemed like he was like, oh shit. He threw everything that he had at that car, like, this weekend, and it didn't hit.
Didn't work.
And he's just like, uh-oh. What's going on?
Yeah.
And you want to?
I've been saying it for the past few weeks.
Yeah.
Something happened over there at SHR, and something's not right.
I wonder too if it's a Ford problem though, because even Penske's not running as strong. I mean, last week, Eric, you forgot to mention it last week on the podcast, but Ryan Blaney sneakily doing well right now, but not in the conversation for a win every week. Joey Logano, pretty steady, but still not in the conversation for a win every week.
Blaney is kind of like Bowman. I feel like they're about at the same level where they're consistently running in the top 10,
but no one's talking about them.
Off a win here and there, but no one's really talking about them.
I'm just wondering if it's a bigger problem with Ford as a whole, because we're not seeing Penske as dominant as they have been in years past, and I mean, Brad had a good race at the All-Star race. Maybe that's a glimmer of hope for. Yeah, maybe it's a glimmer of hope for Ford.
Yeah,
I don't know. It should be interesting going forward. But you guys want to jump into the pickle lane? The choose cone is out. I've got some topics to give you, and I want to know where you stand. So this week, of course, it was the All-Star race down in Texas for the first year. Last year, it was at Bristol. The year before that, and for many years before that, it was at Charlotte. Now, these are all SMI run tracks. Do you think we should go to a different SMI track next year? And if so, where would you like to see it? Would you like to see it return to Charlotte? Would you like to see it stay in Texas? Did you like what you saw last year at Bristol, or do you want to go somewhere else? Maybe Atlanta. I don't know about Atlanta. I wouldn't say it, but
they ran the All-Star race in Atlanta once.
Years and years ago, but that was before SMI owned it. too.
Right. But all right. So to answer your question, I'll take this one. I want to I think the big thing leading into this week was like, oh my God, like I heard on like the Door Bumper Clear podcast, like those guys I saw on Twitter, like, we have to travel all the way out to Texas, especially for the guys who are running in the open in the qualifying races. Like, we have to fly all the way to Texas, get all of our equipment, all of our guys down there, and we still might not make the race. And most of those guys didn't make the race. And so I personally would like to see them keep it closer to the Charlotte hub, which is the NASCAR hub.
Yeah.
The logistics of bringing the whole, like I just said, the logistics of bringing the whole industry out to Texas was a strain on a lot of those lower funded teams.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it at, honestly, Martinsville, personally.
I would like a Martinsville.
A short track. Martinsville is a couple hours away from Charlotte. It's not a strain on the teams to get up there and back. And it's beside, I guess, up there with Bristol as our premier short track, and everybody loves a short track, so why not?
Yeah.
And then if not there, just bring it back to Charlotte. Prep the track like they just did with Texas. Texas and Charlotte are sister tracks in the way they're configured. They're a pretty similar track.
Yeah.
So why not prep it the same way? And then just there's no reason why they couldn't have an entertaining race at Charlotte like they just did at Texas. So that's my thought on it.
All right. How about you, Eric? Are you cool with it staying in Texas, going somewhere else? You want to see it go back to Charlotte?
It doesn't really have a preference to me. I kind of agree with Matt. I kind of agree with staying with Charlotte. And, I think instead of maybe being the gimmick of going to different track, how about we bring back the Pit Crew Challenge? I've been seeing.
I would love to see the Pit Crew Challenge come back.
Bring the Pit Crew Challenge back.
Yeah.
People throw out outrageous things like, who could do the fastest lap backwards? Like,
there's crazy stuff. Yeah.
Do something a little bit like out of the
like
normal.
1v1,
Yeah. Do like little shootout races, or like
shootout.
Or like
run
instead of it,
just run some sort of crazy format like they did this year.
Yeah, like bring different cars out. People are like, put them in the Xfinities, put them in trucks, let them run.
I want to see all three series on track at the same time. I want to see the trucks, the Xfinity cars, and the Cup cars all running together in a race.
Yes.
I would love to see that.
Crazy.
So Junior,
I would rather that than a different track every year.
Yeah.
Dale Jr. has brought it up a million times. The idea of a Rolex 24 style race where obviously it's not going to be a 24-hour race.
Like not an endurance race, but just something fun.
Make it a 3-hour race or whatever. It's going to be a timed 3-hour race, and you have the different classes. You have the Cup class, you have the Xfinity class, and you have the truck class. And you have them all, not the full field in every series, but you take the top 10 guy in points in each series, you throw them out there, and you just make it a gimmick like that. I think that would be really, really cool to see.
So this whole segment, when we originally concepted it, I was supposed to be like the judge, and I was going to go back and forth between you guys. You guys swayed me. So originally I was going to say, say, let's go to different tracks. Let's see an all-star race at Pocono. Let's go to Vegas. Let's go to Phoenix. Like go all over the place. Now I say, let's just go back to Charlotte and let's get fucking wacky with it. Let's get crazy. So this weekend we saw Eddie Gossage come out with some crazy format. We all made fun of it and it worked. It was fun, Now,
I'm all crazy too, like with other sports. Like, remember when Bubba Wallace? Sorry to cut you off, buddy, but I'm gonna forget this. Remember when he was throwing the football in the stands?
Him and Corey LaJoie throwing catch for the fans.
It was a huge hit. It was a huge hit.
Could you? Oh my god! Okay, all right.
Stuff,
I think I just broke my chair.
Other athletes into it.
No.
All right. I don't know. We're getting wild on the
we're getting crazy. But like, what about like a quarterback challenge, right? But so you get the drivers doing the quarterback challenge, throwing footballs through tires and shit. Goodyear Eagles. We could do some crazy stuff. But Matt, you said a 3-hour race. I think you got to keep it short though. So I
was just using a random number, but make it a 2-hour race.
But you have an open for each series. So all three series have their own open. You have your playoff contenders that are already locked into the playoffs at that point. You're running open for everyone else, like a 15, 20 lap shootout or whatever. And then you take the top 15 guys and you have a 45 car field of trucks, Xfinity, and cup cars. And then after one segment, you invert them. That way you're kind of mixing. Maybe the trucks will be out front. They're slowing down the cup cars. The Xfinity Series guys are in the middle. And yeah, you bring back the pit crew challenge. I love seeing those cars fly onto pit road as fast as possible, sliding into those boxes and stuff. Like, I want to, make the all-star race crazy again.
I remember when you two laughed. Remember when I was talking, my tinfoil hat tinfoil hat. And look at us now getting wild over a bunch
but this isn't a tinfoil hat thing though. Like
no.
I really think all three series getting out there for an all-star race is realistic and it can happen. And you just score it like they score any other sportsman's car series where the different classes get scored differently.
I think it'll be a disaster. I don't think the aero would match up. I think once you get closer,
it definitely wouldn't. But that's what makes it fun.
It doesn't.
That's what makes it fun.
Man. Let them throw them out there all together and let them go have fun.
All right, I agree. Let's
throw some logistics out the window that I was kind of agreeing upon keeping it in Charlotte. We just want to just smash all the cars up and have a demolition derby.
I'm not talking about a demolition derby.
No,
I think it would be as far as like I don't know how it would. How would a truck, an Xfinity, and a Cup car react aerily on a track?
I'm sure the cars. I'm sure as like a Cup car gets near a truck, it would have a different aero push than it's used to. But you want to what? You're all-stars. You need to adapt to that on the fly.
Absolutely.
You figure it out.
Okay. All right. Ready? Coming back. You're bringing it back in.
Yeah.
You're reeling in. I like it.
I think we should go back to Charlotte and let's get crazy. Let's have some fun with the All-Star race and put it back the week before Memorial Day weekend before the 600.
Please.
That really threw me off this year. Last year I got it because everything was all jumbled up. But this year I was like, oh, next week's the All-Star race and then it's the Coke 600. I'm like, no, it's not. I don't even know what it's the code is next week. So let's get back to that tradition. This past weekend, PJ1 was on Texas. Now, you guys said you enjoyed the PJ1. A lot of people online did not like the PJ1. They thought it screwed up the grooves where you had to stay low on Texas, and it became kind of one groove as the night got later. I thought it was great.
Were those people also 87 years old?
No, it was Jordan Bianchi of The Athletic on the morning drive this morning.
Larson used the outside lane to win that race.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Mic drop.
Yep.
He went to the outside in the PJ1, made it 3 wide on the outside.
Yeah.
To win that race.
I'll be honest with you. I'll just say it. I am sick of the PJ1 conversation.
I'm sick of the conversation too.
I'm sick of it. And that's Whitey, you threw out the question. I'm not. That's not.
I only brought it up because I was surprised to hear him complaining about it.
The reason why I'm sick of it is because it's sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
I think you have to go track by track.
Yeah, it's a situational thing. When it works, it really, really works, and when it doesn't, it's a non-factor. So
what do you think about PJ1 for Pocono coming up?
No, I don't care about it. Like it doesn't.
I don't think it makes a difference.
See, okay, I'll say this.
I don't know if we were recording when you said this. I don't know if we were recording or not. We were talking earlier before the show started.
Yeah.
I think they need to choose one or the other. Like go PJ1 or change the car. Like I don't think that PJ1. It's NASCAR trying to do
fix
something.
An issue with the aero of the car.
It's NASCAR trying, like you said.
Yeah.
NASCAR's trying to do something. It's going to work. It might not work. But do you want NASCAR to not try?
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
no. Exactly. That's exactly right. So, like, Whitey, when
they're trying to do, you know?
Yeah.
Whitey, when you asked me, would I be okay with Pocono having PJ1? Sure. But would I be okay if they didn't run the PJ1?
Oh yeah,
sure.
I just want to know. Do you think it makes a difference at a track like Pocono though?
No, not Pocono. I think there's right and wrong tracks for it.
You need heat. Yes, some Pocono races it can be hot as hell when they run it in late July, almost August. In June, it could be cloudy and 55, and that PJ1,
it's not going to do anything. Yeah.
It might ruin the racing.
Yeah.
But like Matt said, that's NASCAR taking a risk that it might be sunny that day. If it's sunny at Pocono and they put PJ1 down, that might be the best race they've ever seen.
Right.
But
So
if you put 55 degrees in overcast, that race might be the worst race you've ever seen.
Right.
So
it's a risk.
it's
a risk.
Trying. Right. It's risk and reward.
Yeah.
I'm going to go off topic here, but in regards to Pocono, I've been looking at the extended forecast, and it's going to be like 75 in the day all weekend, and then like
perfect,
like 60s at night, but
rain.
Threat of thunderstorms.
Oh, dude, but like I said last
it's Pocono,
week, man, no, but it's not only Pocono, it's Pennsylvania.
I've been camping here the last decade, and trust me, every single year it's going to show that, and it is going to rain one of the days up there.
Oh yeah,
I promise that. I promise that. But like, even like, just look at like summertime afternoons in Pennsylvania, there's always going to be a threat of a thunderstorm.
Oh, we had a crazy thunderstorm today.
We live in Florida sometimes. It's like a half-hour pop-up banger of a thunderstorm, swamped through it rain, and 40 minutes later, the sun's out and everything's dry. You're back out in the yard grilling.
Look at yesterday. We were on a walk with the dog, and Steph said, oh, they're calling for thunderstorms today. And I said, I bet you it's not going to happen. And it didn't happen, but it could have. It's a 50-50 toss-up every day, every afternoon in the summer in Pennsylvania. So don't what I look at, Whitey, when I look at the extended forecast for Pocono is look at the temperature. That's usually pretty freaking close and accurate. But as far as the thunderstorm, don't worry about that. Don't read too much into that because it might happen.
Oh no, I was just checking because I was curious. I'm not going to take any worth of the weather forecast until like the day before, you know?
Right.
All right. My last pick a lane, it involves coolers. Apparently, coolers were a big controversy for NASCAR Twitter online. A friend of the show, we've been trying to get him on live for months now.
We will get
him eventually. He leads a very busy schedule too, though. He's all over the place. Randy the Plumber. If you're not following Randy the Plumber on Instagram and Twitter, do yourself a favor. Give him a follow. His content is fantastic. Huge sports fan.
He is a fan of the fans.
He's a fan of the fans. And yesterday, he was down in Texas Motor Speedway, and he got real fired up because, like we were talking about, 95 degrees out in Texas, Texas heat, SMI track, no coolers allowed. How do you guys feel about that?
You know exactly how we feel about that. It's happened to us at Phoenix.
I know. So if you're not familiar, if you've never been to a NASCAR race, most NASCAR tracks, and I say most, will allow you to bring in a soft shell cooler, and you can bring anything in it as long as it's not glass and illegal. But you can bring in food, sandwiches, drinks, beer, whatever you want. And I think that is one of the greatest perks of NASCAR. When you buy a NASCAR ticket,
it's one of the biggest draws. It's one of the biggest draws. Whenever we bring new friends of ours who have never been to a race
my
before,
mind was blown. I go, wait a minute, we could bring in our own drinks into a sporting event? Isn't this real life?
Pack in hand, and they won't even blink an eye.
They don't say nothing unless you're at an SMI track. And apparently our friend Randy the Plumber didn't realize that. Now, you guys learned the lesson the hard way down in Phoenix a couple years ago. You guys got thrown in beer jail. I don't know if we ever told the story on the podcast. You want to tell that story real quick?
I think we did. Just a super, super abbreviated story is that we went to Phoenix Raceway a couple years ago, brought a whole bunch of beer with us, tried to get into the track thinking that it was okay. It wasn't. They threw us in what we called beer jail behind a barricade until we drank all our beers. They gave us the option of either throw the beers away or don't come in, and we're not throwing the beers away.
That's outrageous.
So we stood there for an hour and a half in beer jail and drank all our beers, and then we were finally able to be let in. And then once we got in there, we found out the reason why they didn't want us to bring our own beers is because they want us to, buy their beers,
concessions.
Which I think the cheapest beer, Eric, was what, $4,000 or $5,000.
It was
$4,000 or $5,000 for a can of beer. I think was the cheapest.
I took a mortgage out. Yeah, I took a mortgage out at Phoenix Raceway that day for a cooler full of Bud Heavies.
Well, they
pre-approved for your normal blue collar NASCAR fan who wants to go into a race, enjoy himself, not spend $3,000 on food and booze, and just bring your own stuff in and enjoy a race.
Yeah.
it seems like these SMI tracks are taking that away from the fan, and I think that's going to kill. I think that's going to kill them in the long run. I mean, Eric, what did we say? We'll never be back to Phoenix because of it.
Never go back.
And that was my question. If NASCAR across the board got rid of coolers, would that affect you going to see a race live?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
100%.
I know it sounds petty, but it's part of the.
It is. It's part of the experience.
NASCAR.
I completely agree. I think that's one of the greatest perks because, like I said, NASCAR is very fan oriented, and I feel like they're thinking about the fans. Like, hey, we get it. We don't want you to.
Randy the plumber said it. Hey, we pay the bills.
Yeah.
We go to the racetrack. We buy those tickets.
When the green flag is flying in the air, I'm in my chair. I don't want to have to get up and go get a beer.
But even alcohol aside, Randy's biggest point yesterday was like it was 95 degrees outside, and you couldn't have
huge
cold
lines,
water,
long lines waiting to get
water.
waters.
So everyone was going to the concession stand for waters, and I'm sure alcohol too. And then, but they would be missing, a half hour, 45 minutes of the race because the lines were so long. And with a shortened race like the All-Star race, a half hour, 45 minutes is a quarter of the race.
Huge. Yeah.
And there were people saying, "Oh, I had clear plastic bags that I had ice in. I had no problem."
That ice is melting. It's melting as soon as you get through the door.
Shit. You're a bot on the internet just trying to stick up for NASCAR.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I completely agree. And you want to know what? If Pocono ever said like, "Hey, we're not doing coolers this year," for whatever reason, I'm like, well,
that's why I can't, buddy.
Yeah, I'm not getting a grandstand ticket. And the thing is, I get a cooler full of beer. I sit there, I drink. And I still go to the concessions because I gotta get my sausage and pepper sandwich.
Absolutely,
I gotta get my chicken tendies and French fries. Yeah. Even though the doctor told me I have high cholesterol now at 32 and I can't eat that stuff anymore. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that in 2 weeks because guess what? It's my weekend to have fun and let loose and drink beers with my friends. And you want to know what? Eventually the food's going to run out. I'm going to have to hit that concession stand. Eventually the beer's going to run out and I'm going to be buying those $10 beers. At least give me the opportunity to save some money in the beginning of the race.
I think the easy way, because I will say this. I understand from a business aspect of
I completely get it.
The track does it. I get it. I do get it.
But you want to know what?
There's a happy medium.
You want to know what? Fuck the man and fuck business. Why did NASCAR start? No, why did NASCAR start?
Moonshining, baby.
Moonshining, selling illegal alcohol, hot rodding cars and running from the cops. Fuck the man. We're rebels here. We're bringing in our coolers. We're drinking our own beer.
Let it bring in the beer.
Bring in the beer. Bring in the beer. That's what I'm saying. Dude. I don't give a fuck about your bottom line. I'm thinking about my pocket.
Remember this, dude.
I'm thinking about my pocket.
Listen to this story, dude.
Yeah.
So when we were in beer jail, right? Because like it was metal fencing, right? We made this little box that we right. So like people trying to get in. Now people that go to Phoenix all the time, they knew that they were going to get caught.
Yeah.
So they got smart, dude.
They're hiding them in cool
bottoms.
Wagons. They had like 12, the 12 ounce or the 12 pack long skinny things.
Yeah.
They would empty a Coke and a Sprite and fill it with beers. Tape it like it was just sodas they were bringing in.
Yeah.
Dude, people gotta get creative to try to just get
You shouldn't have to.
Like right. That's what I mean. Like, it's bullshit.
Well, you want to know what? If you go back to the moonshine days, they were getting creative too. So
So the fans, we'll find a way to bring that beer in. Just so you know,
we'll find a way.
We'll get it in.
Listen,
that track.
I think the statutes of limitations have ended, but we used to sneak beers into the movies when we were like 19 years old.
Used to.
Well, that's what I'm saying. All right.
They serve alcohol at the movies now, dude. I just went to the movies. They have a bar in the movies now,
Yeah,
dude.
but I'm not buying a $12 Yingling. Get out of here with that.
Right.
I could buy a 12-pack for $12, and I put $1 beer in my back pocket and sneak past. And guess what? I'm buying the senior citizen ticket, too. I'm going to the kiosk, and I'm getting myself a discount.
Sad, wife.
Actually, I stopped doing that. I felt real bad. I felt like karma was going to get me. That's probably why. That's probably why I have high cholesterol right now.
The rails. Let's head into Nashville.
All right, we got a triple header in Music City, USA, baby. We're going back to Nashville for the first time since when was the last Xfinity Series race, Matt? Do you know?
Oh God. You know what? I was going through the stats today, and I had a feeling you were going to ask me that, and I was going to write it down, but I didn't. I
want to say it's 2011. I'm probably making that up. Maybe
2012. 11, 12, 13 in that range.
We're going back to Nashville, baby, for the first time in almost 10 years. The trucks are on. What's that? The trucks are back on track on FS1 8 p.m. for the Rackley Roofing 200. Xfinity going to be on track at 3:30 on Saturday for the Tennessee Lottery 250, and Cup is going to be in Nashville Sunday afternoon for the LA 400 on NBCSN.
The NBC crew is back.
Dale Jr., Jeff Burton, my man Stevie Letarte, Kyle Petty, man. Ooh.
Yeah, Rick Allen.
They're all coming back, baby. I can't wait. I'm excited.
Rutledge Wood.
Oh, and you know he's going to have some fans to talk to this year. They're finally letting fans back in the stands. Rutledge Wood going to be walking through, finding the parties and stuff.
Bump and run compound.
We're going to have to tweet Rutledge Wood when we're at Pocono. Get him over. We'll give him
start tweeting him now.
We'll give him a business card to hand out to all of his friends. So, we got a big weekend in Nashville. Again, we got practice and qualifying, so I don't have the top 10 for you right off the bat. And, of course, because this past week was the All-Star race, we randomly picked numbers, and that's who our picks for last week were. I had Christopher Bell. He did not win. Matt had William Byron. He finished higher than all three of us, and Eric had MTJ. And so I think what
Eric.
Huh?
Fuck you, Matt. I owe Matt a goddamn lobster roll.
Lobster roll in Maine.
Oh, because MTJ shit the bed during the All-Star race.
Yeah, he did.
And now I have to buy Matt a lobster roll.
Martin Truex Jr. was like a non-factor. The Toyotas had a rough one.
Like, he was just like, I'm like watching him, and like, to be honest with you, I texted Matt. I was feeling pretty good. I forgot who my driver was.
Yeah.
And Matt had to remind me there, and I'm like, God, he's doing nothing all race. Come on, I'm done. The lobster roll, I have to buy it.
I'm pretty sure the only time I saw Martin Truex Jr. on TV yesterday was when he was walking out during driver introductions. I don't think I saw him on track at all.
Yeah, he was irrelevant, it was super surprising. When Dovin got the random roll of Martin Truex Jr., I thought that he was going to win it.
Yeah, but since there was no points on the line, the winner, which was Matt with William Byron, he just got 5 bonus points into the standings. So right now, currently, our total standings, I am in the lead with 545 points. Eric is in second with 497, and Matt has 475. So those 5 points really, they are bumping up a little bit and closing in on that gap. But since you won, and we did change the rules a while ago where the winner was going to go last, but since it was the All-Star race, it's wacky. You get 5 points, you get a lobster roll, and you get to pick first this week. We inverted it.
All right, yeah. So this is usually the point where I give you some stats.
Give us some stats on Nashville.
Cup car has never run at Nashville, right? So
it's Xfinity Series race only.
The only thing I can give you is current Cup guys who have formerly won at Nashville Superspeedway in the Xfinity Series. Brad Keselowski, now keep in mind also is I guess they used to run at Nashville Superspeedway twice a year in the Xfinity Series. So
okay.
Brad Keselowski has won there twice back in 2008 and 2010.
All right.
Kevin Harvick has also won there twice back in 2006 and 2010. And then Kyle Busch and Joey Logano both split the 2009 races.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I am up for my pick. I can go low-hanging fruit with any of the Hendrick guys. I'm not going to. I'm going to pick somebody who has been nipping at their heels, has been right there with them, and I'm gonna go with Kyle Busch.
Okay, solid pick. I think that's a great pick because, again, brand new track. Of course, we are gonna have practice and qualifying this week, but I think the veterans are gonna know how to attack this track. Again, it's a concrete track.
He's won there before.
Yep.
He's raced there before. And he's a wheelman, and he's not that far off from the Hendrick guys right now. I mean, he's the one mixing it up with them week in and week out. So, that's why I'm going with Kyle Busch.
All right, I think that's a great pick. Eric, I believe, I came in last the week before. I had Tyler Reddick at Sonoma. That was a bust of a pick. He had a cut tire. But you want to, yeah, Eric, you go second. I'm in the lead in points. I'll go last. Who do you have?
Part of me wants to go like, Matt, like that was a great pick. Kyle Busch, been there before, all this and that. But
yeah,
I just think Hendrick is the team to go with. Larson's the dominant car, and I got to shout out to Kyle Larson because that son of a bitch, my girlfriend's driver. So.
Yeah.
It's been a little devastating for me the last couple of weeks getting my ass kicked. And,
I see her post every week on Facebook right after the race, and it's always like number 5, yeah, woo.
So it just so happens I retired my one Eric Jones flag. It was a 77 Monster Energy flag, and she had gotten Kyle Larson flag. I hung it up on my garage. He has yet to lose a stage since I hung that flag up.
Wow.
So, before the race this weekend, I'm taking that flag down and I'm rolling it up and I'm putting it away.
Did you get a William Byron flag to put up?
And I am getting a William Byron flag. And I'm going with William Byron this week for Hendrick Sports to take this race in Nashville because you know what? I'm tired of this Larson shit. I'm tired of my girlfriend chirping my ear, and I'm tired of that flag hanging off of my garage, and it's coming down, and a William Byron one is going up this week.
You know what? You just reminded me of a pickle lane that I thought of in the middle of the show, and I forgot to write it down. Moody was talking about it earlier. How much longer can Kyle Larson win before we get sick of seeing Kyle Larson win and we all start hating on Kyle Larson?
Oh, it happens. It happens to everyone. It happened to Earnhardt. It happened to
Gordon.
Jimmy Johnson, Gordon, Kyle Busch.
Do you think if he continues on this streak for the rest of the season, people hate him by the end of the season? Or do you think he's still...
No, he's a likable guy.
I think it boosts him. I think people are a fan of Kyle Larson.
Yeah.
I think a redemption story. I just think,
what else it's doing? You know what else it's doing? And I don't mean to get in the weeds. I know we're at the very end of this. At the very end of this, but and we could maybe even talk about it next week. But I personally think, and next week I'll even get into it a little bit why I think this. It's bringing the dirt world and the NASCAR world closer.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'll get into that next week as to why I think that, but just a little teaser.
Preview to next week. I like that. I like that little teaser, man.
On the next Bump and Run podcast. So I'm honestly, I'm already sick of Kyle Larson winning races. I'm rooting for William Byron to start polishing off some of these tracks.
Yeah, you're because your prediction was wrong, you son of a bitch. I'm going to call you right now.
What?
He's not going to be in the series.
I am mad that my prediction was wrong. Yeah, I thought he was going to.
That's why you're sick of Larson.
I am because you want to what? Because
Shredder's
because our buddy. Yeah, because our buddy and I got to give a shout out to Robbie Shrey. He's a great friend and a good listener. But I'm sick of him rubbing it in my face because I said like, oh, Kyle Larson's not going to win a race this year. He said it today. He said it yesterday. Like I'm over it. I get it. Let it go.
You guys should hash this out this weekend at the base of a lighthouse.
Oh, we can do that. I mean, anyways, I am like Matt going with a veteran, someone that's won at this track before. I was thinking about Brad Keselowski, even before he did well yesterday.
Darrell Waltrip.
So I'm picking Darrell. He's running in that Rick Ware car since Cody Ware's running Indy this week. Old Daryl's coming back to no. I'm picking Brad Keselowski this weekend. I think we haven't really seen much out of Ford. It's kind of a swing for the fences pick, but I think
he showed promise in that race with that move, trying to get past Larson.
He did.
Might have something.
He did, and you want to know what? I feel like a veteran's going to be able to kind of figure out Nashville quicker than some of the younger guys that are out there now, especially with practice and qualifying. We will see what happens with practice and qualifying. Practice happens this Saturday, 2:05. Qualifying Sunday morning, 11:05. And the race is, of course, at 3:30 in Nashville for the Ally 400 on NBCSN. Will it be Brad Keselowski? Will EB get his second win? Or will Kyle Busch lock in win number 2 on the season? We will find out this Sunday. Nashville Super Speedway, the Ally 400 on NBCSN, and we'll break it all down for you Monday night. And we'll be back from Maine probably with some stories from the weekend too. Have a good night.
Bump and dump and